every person evolves the same way. I put out something the other day where I said all humans succeed the same way. This is the same thing. And I had to look up, is there something else that we could do that would cause us to evolve or succeed? Is there something else that we could do that would be different? And I have not been able to find that. And then I went to look up, well, what does evolve mean? It means to come from something that was simple in the beginning and then gain more and continue to grow. That's what we do in our lives. We come in as these little infants, and then what we do is we evolve as we grow. And how do we do that? We do it through our consciousness. I keep trying to find if there's some other way for us to reach that place of owning who we are, understanding our purpose, living a great life, and becoming successful. I have not found another way. And then what happens is we change our society in exactly the same way. Our world evolves. We can think back to maybe ancient times and we know about the survival of the fittest. That's how things used to evolve then. And we can see different changes over periods of time. But we go through it all the time. As long as we're on the earth, we're always going through that. And so then every person who is alive is contributing to evolution. And that is how we evolve as a world and how the individual evolves as a person. But we don't all do that the same way. And mine was very different. And I am talking about the particular time in our world, because what happens when we go through evolutionary change, which is what we are experiencing now, everyone's saying, why are things so weird? Why are things so crazy? Why has this been going on? Why am I struggling so much? Why don't I know what's happening? Why am I afraid? We're moving through an evolution. And the way that we evolve individually or as a society is when we decide to become more, when we decide to accept ourselves and move into a higher level of consciousness or understanding. There are different ways that we do that. We go to school, we get education, we go to coaches, we do all those things. But then we have this collective information that we all create that we have access to. And that's what I had access to, and that's what I use. So I have been talking about my work and where I'm going now because it's very different. It is very different than anything that's out there. It's just why I also called my program Your Last Development Program, because I finally got to that place where I knew what I had. I knew what would be helpful for the evolution of any person in the evolution of our world. Because what happens with this work is that you come out happy. You come out knowing who you are. You come out confident. You don't have the normal kind of fear. You're not freaking out all the time. And I can say that because that's what I did. See, in 1988, when I started sitting down and saying, let me get some help here, let me get some information, I was given tons of it. I have more information that anyone could possibly use because it's all mindset work. There's nothing different for you than any other person except the way you think. That's all that it is. Now, but the thinking might have been controlled, it might have been programmed, it usually is. That's what it was for me. I couldn't talk about my work because, see, it wasn't supposed to be what I was meant to do in this life, I thought. That's what I thought. And so it was uncomfortable to talk about it with people, even though what was doing is completely changing my life. And so when you look at something that you want to follow, you have to ask yourself, is it going to give you the result that you want to experience in your life? And throughout time, we've created different things, philosophies. Well, I created a new one. And the new philosophy is called Your Life Operating Instructions. That's what I've created. That's what I use in my program, is the information from that philosophy. But that took me 40 years to do because I had to move through it and I had to prove that it worked. And the way that I proved that it worked is that I healed my life. So I have the results because, see, everything is mind-body connection. Everything is connecting to your authentic self, the reason that you were born, your soul mission, I call it. And I can tell anyone what that is because I've written it all, I've received it all, and I channel information. And then I discovered I was this mystic and a sage, and that's why I could do all of these things. And then I discovered that the work that I was given was meant to be used during this time of transition in our world. And we're going to still be moving through it for a while. We probably have a little more than a year or so where it's going to look a little turbulent. But What happens is when you become happy, when you become successful, when you become prosperous, then you help change the world. Every single person. There's no one person who has more ability to do that than you. And that's the part that's really challenging for us. It was challenging for me to accept that I had received this work and it spent my entire life developing and living it and proving its efficacy. That's what's happened. And I will tell you how you come out because you come out not being afraid, you come out being happy, you come out knowing who you are, you come out forgiving yourself, forgiving other people. You start looking at everything in a new way because it's a higher level of consciousness. When you talk about fifth dimensional thinking, people talk about that all the time. You may have heard it, or the age of Aquarius, where we're all loving each other and coming together. Yeah, that's the work that I have. People say, well, that doesn't even make sense. And those will be the people that want to stay angry. Those are the people that are going to keep judging themselves and that are going to keep hating everyone else instead of deciding that the best thing that they could do is become happy and successful and prosperous. And everyone can do it. And I know that because I've proven that as well. But I also know that my work is not for everyone because some people will want to stay stuck. I did that, so I understand it. It's just challenging to work with people who want to make that choice. And then our world doesn't change until we make different choices. And like I'm saying, you're going to see people who are not going to change for the next more than a year or so because it's like, no, we want things to be the way they were. And nothing is going to be the way it was. We're moving through an evolutionary change, and you've seen it. And you keep seeing it every single day. And you keep hearing the word unprecedented. Yeah, you can find all of that because you can even look to the galaxies and see these configurations have never happened. Then you start making connections that everything is energy and that you have it and that you can control it. And the way that you control it is in your thinking. The way that you direct it is in your thoughts. The way that you live it is by the actions and the beliefs that you choose to hold about yourself. And then you start to discover this wonderful place inside of you, which is your life purpose. And that's why I tell people they have a great life purpose, because there's no insignificant people that were ever born. It's just that not everyone is going to find that significance within themselves. And then that's why we have chaos and why we're moving through what we are in the world currently, and why we're having all the disasters and all the things that are happening. However, I'm having a good time. And that feels so terrible to say to a lot of people because you're suffering, but I understand it. And you don't have to, is what I'm saying as well. And I'm so grateful for the people that I'm working with because they're making a huge difference. And then we're going to keep uplifting ourselves so that we can do that for everyone else. But the one thing that I know for sure is this. Every single person is born with something within them that could cause their life to be magnificent and wonderful. And it's their authentic selves. And all they have to do is access that. And that's the most challenging thing that most of us do because we're afraid of who we are. We're afraid of being judged. We're afraid that we're weird or different than everyone else, except understand that we're supposed to be different and weird. That's the whole point of your birth, is to be that. But then when we don't feel this confidence, we will start to blame everyone else for our horrible lives. Yeah, I did that for a while too. And then it gets really exhausting because it never changes. And then what we have is we have a world that never changes either. And so the difference in my work is this, and no one, and not, like I said, not everyone will want to do this, because I know that anyone who could move through their restrictions, the limitations that have been in them within their thinking, then they start becoming empowered, then they start feeling confident, and then they can start seeing the gifts that they have. Then they can start seeing and recognizing their life purpose, because everyone has one. And then when you start living that, there's a flow of energies that comes into you that everything in your life changes. And again, I can say this because I've done it. And it's a crazy thing to sit here now at my age and say, wow, I am still alive, because I should have been dead many, many times with the things that I went through. But I also know what is possible. And I know what is possible for every single person, because you have it within you. But this is why every single person evolves the same way. And the more of us who evolve and decide to do that, meaning becoming our authentic selves, loving who we are, then the world changes, because we're all creating it. It's not but one person doing it. It's all of us. That's what you begin to understand too when you get into understanding the quantum sciences or the quantum field, as some call it, or whatever it is, because it's an energy of consciousness that has always existed. We're only in physical bodies for a little while. That's what it is. And so we're supposed to have wonderful, happy lives, and we can, if we decide to own who we are, move through all the old stuff, and then come out new. And that's what I did. And that's why my work does the same thing for anyone who uses it. But just understand that you will be changing. You will feel a little uncomfortable because everything's moving very quickly in our world. But I do want you to have one other thing. I did a channeling session on August 16th. So whenever you might happen to hear this video, please find that one. It was for the new moon. That's why I did the session, and everything was there. Everything comes through in this beautiful way because I'm able to access other levels of consciousness to answer questions, give information. It's how I wrote everything. And so that's why it's different. That's why this work has never been created before. You might find other people channels or guides or spirit, whatever. Mine is not that. I want people to live this great life now in this world. And this work that I've developed over all of these years gives any individual the ability to do that. And I've proven it, and you've seen it. You've probably seen some of the testimonials. But I just wanted to talk about it now, and I would love for you to hear the recording that we did, because we're moving through some challenging times. However, when you decide that you're the most important person in your life, you'll help change the world.
I haven't done anything like this.
It's increased the confidence that I've had in myself.
Everything is better. I mean, every single aspect of my life. My income, the progress is just amazing. Like, you can see changes from week to week.
Introducing your last development program, Life Transformation for Success, the newest part of Roger Burnley's coaching series. In this 3-month online program, you will learn the mindset tools you need to dissolve the shame of your past, discover the gifts within you that make you important to the world, and get the confidence to rise above anything that stands between you and the life that you want.
Everything changed in my life. Everything. Every single thing.
It's time for you to reprogram your mind for success and become self-actualized. If you're ready to transform your life too, learn more at yourlastdevelopmentprogram.com today.